Missed it by that much.
So close. For the second time in 3 years, a Packers season runs out of gas, just short of their ultimate destination. So what's a team to do?
Yeah, we just got to make sure we're going all in every year to win. And I think we can take a big step this offseason.
Yes, ma'am.
Fill it up, please.
Ted Thompson's been busy under the hood, signing his first unrestricted free agent in years.
The middle end zone touchdown, Martellus Bennett.
People wondering if you're okay?
There were people that asked me certain questions that haven't come up a lot lately, but it's all in jest.
But what's not a laughing matter is the Packers need to find some players who can contribute with their 8 picks this weekend. So what will Ted do to fine-tune the Packers engine?
We feel pretty good about our roster as a whole. From a number standpoint, we're going to have to increase and add some players.
That's what this weekend's all about. Time for Ted to earn his stripes.
So you ready for the draft? Let's get started.
Draft 2017 starts now. How you doing, everybody, and welcome to Draft 2017. In 24 hours from now, the Cleveland Browns will be on the clock with the first pick of this draft, and several hours after that, the Packers will be on the clock. Ted Thompson, of course, used to picking late in the first rounds. That's a sure sign that your team is successful. Now, if he wants that to continue, he needs to have success with his 8 picks this weekend. Here are all the Packers selections, barring trades, of course. Green Bay will have the 29th pick on Thursday night, the 8th straight season the Packers have drafted 21st or higher, thanks, of course, to those 8 straight playoff appearances. Then on Friday, the Packers with the 61st overall pick that comes in the second round and the 93rd overall in the third round. The draft concludes on Saturday, Green Bay with the 134th pick in the fourth round and then 2 picks in the fifth. Their own at 174, and then a compensatory pick at 184. That is for the free agent loss of Casey Hayward. And remember, this is the first year that compensatory picks can be traded. And then in the 6th and 7th rounds, the Packers will pick number 214 and 247th. All right, if Ted Thompson decides to keep that 29th pick tomorrow, it may be used on defense. 9 of his last 12 first-round picks have been on that side of the ball. That includes the last 5 in a row. And of those 9, 4 became Pro Bowl players. 2 have earned All-Pro honors. That's Clay Matthews and Clinton Dix. Now, if Thompson decides to trade that 29th pick, the last time the Packers traded up in the first round was 2009, up to the 26th pick to draft Matthews. The last time they traded out of the first round, 2008, and Thompson was able to land Jordy Nelson in that second round. Now, many people like that option for this year due to the depth at certain positions. And depth, of course, brings options, which is about all Ted would give us in his State of the Draft address last week.
Most of the time, there's one particular name that you're thinking about. Sometimes there could be 3. Normally, it's not too many more than that. And then you have to make a decision. But there's also, I think, great value, certainly to me, to have a certainty and a surety of, having done our work. There's a lot of confidence in terms of our evaluations.
The Watts roadmap to success runs through Pewaukee, Wisconsin, and ends in the NFL. It's what worked for JJ, a 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year with the Texans, and Derek, a second-year fullback with the Chargers. And it's the path TJ now hopes to follow. He knows better than anyone the expectations that come with carrying the Watt name.
Nothing's guaranteed until draft night, so I'm just keeping that chip on my shoulder, staying humble, staying hungry, and just working my butt off because I can't control any of that stuff.
The former Badgers standout is projected to be a late first-round or early second-round draft pick after playing just 2 seasons of college football due to injuries.
I'm scratching the surface. That's the big selling point here. I had a great season this past year, but it's nowhere close to what I can be, and I think the sky's the limit with my talent and my ability.
TJ had 63 total tackles, 11.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles in 2016. Those numbers, along with an impressive 37-inch vertical leap and 10-foot 8-inch broad jump at the combine, have caught the attention of several NFL teams.
I've heard it all, to be honest with you. Obviously, 3-4 outside back is what I've done in college, so a lot of coaches know I can do that. But I've heard everything from defensive end in a 4-3 scheme or inside back in a 4-3 scheme.
Watt may even be a right fit for the Packers, who ranked 31st in passing yards allowed last season and have some big holes to fill on defense due to free agency.
I know kind of mock
draft boards have him potentially coming here, which would be great if he's even half the player, that his brother is. Yeah, I mean, obviously everyone's going to expect big things out of him with how well JJ has been playing in this league. But I think he just wants his shot.
While staying in Wisconsin would be great, it's not mandatory.
Any team that's willing to take me, I'm all for it. I'm willing to play for anybody, but obviously home state, playing for the Packers would be awesome.
The Packers have had success following NFL bloodlines before.
It's not a negative. It's a contributory part of the equation. I don't knowingly sit around, especially on draft day itself, thinking about it. I will have already calculated that in my mind.
Watt, who's played everything from quarterback to tight end, brings a unique set of skills to the table.
Versatility is gonna get you on the field, and it's gonna be hard to take you off the field. So, and I'm willing to play special teams. I played special teams in college, so I tell these coaches, you're gonna have to find a way to get me off the field. I'm gonna try and do it all.
Every time this year comes around, I'll be glued to the TV watching.
I'll pay attention just because, it's our team, and it's always intriguing to see who we end up picking.
It's exciting. The draft time, it takes you back.
We're picking 29, so I'll probably pick it up, maybe around pick 20 or so, and get updates, and then be excited about who we're going to select.
What is the challenge that goes into getting a good impact player that maybe fits a position of need when 28 other teams pick first?
That's exactly it, is the fact that it's hard to assess what one team might do, much less 28 in front of you. That's just assuming that the draft order stays as it is currently constructed.
We don't try to waste a whole lot of time. There's not much I can do. What are we picking, 29? Is that right? 29. You sit there, you kind of know who you want to take, and everything falls the way it's supposed to fall, and hope for the best.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to NFL Draft 2017. Now, the NFL experiencing a bull market, the salary cap on the rise, so there's plenty of cash to pay players right now. Take a look at what has happened with the cap since the most recent collective bargaining agreement went into effect back in 2011. For the first 2 years, the cap stayed almost stagnant, hovering around $120 million per team, but it made its first noticeable jump in 2013, going up $3 million. And then in 2014, it began making big jumps, up $10 million that year, and then again in 2015. And the last 2 years, the cap has risen by $12 million to its current level this season of $167 million and change. But that increase has not gone directly into the pockets of the players. As of late last week, the 32 teams were an average of $19 million under the cap. 12 teams have more than $20 million in cap space, 6 more, $30 million under the cap. Now, the 49ers lead the way with $70 million in cap space. The Packers currently sit at $21 million under the cap. So why all this money? When the CBA went into effect in 2011, it added a provision that over a 4-year period, teams must spend at least 89% of the collective cap for those 4 years. 2017 is the first year of the next 4-year cycle, so that explains some of the space, but not all of it.
I got to tell you, agents are many of them are outraged over what's happening because the money is not being spent. I'll tell you when the money will be spent. The money will be spent in the say 6 weeks after the draft. Teams know that there is going to be a tremendous inventory of players still out there. They're just going to wait and they're going to take advantage and they're going to go shopping at Walmart. What I hear when I talk to general managers and team people is, we have guys on our team we do not want to lose, so what we're going to do is we're going to sign them a year before they get to the market.
That sounds like, and is, the Packers' preferred method of business. Draft and develop, and then dish out the cash to keep your own players. But lately, that has not worked out. The first 3 draft classes eligible for extensions under the current CBA were 2011, 12, and 13. Now, the Packers drafted 29 players over those 3 years. Only 4 have received a second contract in Green Bay.
Is that an alarming number for a team that builds itself on the draft?
Well, I mean, you'd like to draft players, develop them, and extend them for the future. It doesn't always work out that way. Those players sometimes like it or don't like it in Green Bay. you know, they're playing a different role than they played in college. There's all kinds of things that factor in, and sometimes it's like it was this year, where it was just we felt like you know, bad luck that we weren't able to get a couple of guys done.
Is that concerning when your draft picks are not the guys getting the money?
Well, you know, I think the reality is, Chris, you can't pay everybody. You know, the cap is it's a hard cap, and you know, so you have to work within it. And you know, each case is kind of unique. You know, obviously it was disappointing to lose some of the players that we did this year, but and you know, it's again, I think Ted and Russ, you know, you have to look at each player and, you know, what are you comfortable paying? And you know, I mean, there's just certain players that, you know, other teams were willing to pay more than we thought was reasonable.
You know, the New York Giants have the same problem. They have kept very, very few of their guys, and I don't think that's the kind of thing that prevents you from winning 10 or 11 games. It's a quarterback-driven league. If your quarterback is taken care of and you can protect him and you play really well on offense and then shuffle in some defensive pieces, you can win 12 games in a given year. And I get it. You're absolutely right. Those numbers are very concerning. But they're not alone.
So they are not alone, and in some respects, they are prudent.
I'll give them credit. Some teams extend those people early as a way of kind of justifying the picks.
Is that a difficult decision to stay true to what you see versus what you feel?
Well, yeah, I mean, personnel decisions are ongoing factors. It's what you think is correct today might not be correct a month from now.
Because you pick them, you think they're going to be your guy, and they're going to be there long term. But when it doesn't work out, how hard is that to make that decision?
You forget what school I come from, school around Wolf. And once you realize you made a mistake, you begin to cut ties with that. And I think that's the most prudent way to go about it myself.
Needs of the Packers, rank them however you want. Corner, running back, pass rushers. Strengths of this draft, corner, running backs, pass rushers. Worlds collide here, Jerry.
With the 29th pick in the ESPN NFL Nation mock draft, the Packers select TJ Watt, outside linebacker, University of Wisconsin.
They've got a lot of needs, and they're going to use that as a tiebreaker on Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday.
Yeah, this is the best player available is such nonsense. They needed a D tackle last year. They took Kenny Clark, right? I mean, you go the first round pick every year. It's a need. They got to get pass rushers. Matthews had a bad year. It was the worst year of his career. He's going to be 32.
Yep.
You lost Dayton Jones, who didn't do much, but he still led the team in quarterback hits. You lost Peppers. Who rushes the quarterback? I mean, Perry's.
J-Ron Elliott.
Yeah, Perry's been good, but he's been hurt.
Matthews
has been hurt. Got to get a pass rusher.
Impact on defense, anywhere on defense, somebody who makes plays, whether it is getting to the quarterback or intercepting the quarterback. If they take a corner, that's going to signal to me they've lost an awful lot of confidence in Randall and Rollins.
Ramczyk played 2 seasons with the Pointers, earning all-conference honors both years.
He's the best offensive lineman we've ever seen.
That was enough for Paul Christ, who was now at Wisconsin.
We knew he was going to be a starter. Paul Christ, when he got there, he said it in spring football last year. He hadn't even played a snap. He's like, he's our best offensive lineman. And so we knew it. He just has that temperament and has that athleticism.
Kind of halfway through my first year playing there, kind of started to get feedback from different people like, okay, you're one of the top tackles.
After the draft ends, how did that work for you? How quickly was your phone ringing? How many teams were in contact with you?
It was maybe 3 or 4 teams in contact with me after the draft. It was an easy decision for me because, Green Bay flew me out for a pre-draft visit. I met all the coaches. I understood the type of team I was coming to. It was just a blessing for me to be in this situation.
Did the Packers make it apparent that we've got a pipeline of undrafted players who have had success, the Sam Shields, the Tramon Williams? Did they point that out to you?
My agent brought it up to me, but at the same time, I was thinking like, man, I'm going to make it anywhere I go. That's my mindset.
Well, here are the times for all the festivities coming up this weekend. Of course, starting tomorrow night with round 1 at 7 o'clock. The Packers with the 4th from last pick in that round. It's going to be late. And 10 minutes a pick in that first round. So this could be a long night tomorrow night, so get your nap in and then tune in to WBAY tomorrow night and over the next 3 days for reaction and all the info on the Packers picks. Friday starts at 6, rounds 4 through 7 starting Saturday morning at 11 a.m. The Backdrop Philly this year. Our thanks to you for watching tonight. Thanks to Lindsay, Dave, Jason, Bill, Mark, and even a cameo by Rob and our producer, Matt Hippis. We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.